over 25 years, HPG Homes have been helping South Australians build and own their dream home. Whether it's a house and land package, custom build or development, our HPG fixed price guarantee ensures no nasty surprises or price changes along the way. We're committed to quality, affordability and creating a way of life for you and your family. Fixed price, turnkey. It's gotta be HPG. HPG Homes.
Come on! Wait up!
Is everyone ready to play?
I think the people involved, you get to meet a lot of people in football, and that's just one of the great things. Not only is the sport great, but the people involved. So fellow referees, players, coaches, even fans. I love officiating because it keeps me involved in football. I was a player, but I don't reckon I could cut it out there anymore, at least at any decent level. But as a referee, I get to be involved in high levels of football. Keeps me involved, keeps me fit, and is great fun. I think I have a moment of this is why I do this every week. It's always good fun to get out there, and there are tough moments, but being resilient and succeeding, even just in the little things throughout a match. I think embracing challenges is such an important skill to learn, and as a referee you surely come across a lot of them, and I certainly have. I reckon give it a go. You will face challenges, but that's a part of it, and I think embracing challenges is such an important skill to learn.
At Service FM, we know every workplace is different. Every challenge is unique. That's why we personalise our services to our customers' different needs across different industries. From medical to mining and manufacturing, hospitality to healthcare, commercial to defence. So when you need to create a better work environment, you need Service FM. Proud partner with Football South Australia.
Adelaide wakes up with 5AA, David Penberthy and Will Goodings. Tom Wren for sport. Jade Robran on the scene as it happens. Jess Adamson with the news that matters to Adelaide. Breakfast with David and Will, bringing together the names you trust with everything you need to know to start your day. Always live, always local and only on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
Welcome to round 7 of the RAA National Premier League South Australia. It's Adelaide Comets versus Playford City Patriots. Kickoff is less than 2 minutes on the way. We'll have a look at the team's current positions on the ladder. Adelaide Comets sit in 11th place in the relegation zone with just 1 point taken from the 6 league games so far this season. Playford City currently sit in 3rd place. A solid start to the season, but they trail the league leaders in West Torrens-Bacalla by 3 points. Speaking of West Torrens-Bacalla, they are playing as we speak. We'll get you some score updates throughout the game. They're visiting Croydon. They kicked off at the 7:30 mark. They're planning to extend their league lead. And as I said, we'll check in with what's happening at Regency Park throughout our match tonight. But for now, let's have a look at the starting lineups for this fixture. 2 changes made for Adelaide Comets by Thomas Overall following last week's draw against Croydon at Croydon. It was the first time Adelaide Comets took points home so far this year. They led 2-1 from the 51st minute thanks to a goal each from Harry Thomas and Gildas Gomwikezwa before the 80th minute equaliser from Croydon. And tonight, in come Gomwikezwa and Thomas. Out come Jake Porter and Arthur Karkafiris. And just a single change made for Playford City by Ben Moore following last week's 2-1 win at home to Sturt Lions. The first goal took place 62 minutes in, and it was Isaac Mullen that put home one to put his side up via pen. The second came from Reece Djurjevic in the 84th minute, just a minute after he came on. And our only change today is Christos Penendez coming in from Shoto Babasaki, and I believe it was due to Babasaki coming off with the injury last game. Our officials tonight, Curtis Wardsworth, assisted by Henry Day and Judda Tan. It's Simon Jimenez, joined by Anton Violi at LJ Hookham Island Sports Park tonight. Anton, Chile, great job on the Apex Steel WNPL, I guess, opener for tonight. How are you feeling for the men's game now?
Feeling great. Obviously, we saw 5 goals in the second half. That was all going the way of Adelaide Comets. Hopefully tonight we get some goals, keep us up and going in the com box, because it's cold out here, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, if Chris the cameraman will try to keep things pretty still in the box here, but if we start jumping around, it's probably us trying to get some blood flow back to our extremities, and that's probably how the players are feeling as they're getting ready to come out onto the pitch here in the Parklands tonight. I mentioned the other games happening at the moment as well. It'd be awesome if we could get a bit of a score update, because that obviously will affect what the ladder will look like at the conclusion of round 7.
Well, I can give you a score update at Regency. A 39th minute goal from Luca Trimboli have Croydon 1-0 up against West Torrens-Bacalla. To a lot of people's surprise there.
Yeah, well, I think Croydon have been coming into a little bit of form over the last couple of weeks, and there was probably the win in the Cup against Metro Stars that was their catalyst. West Torrens-Bacalla had that 0-0 draw last week against Metro Stars, and from what I hear was a very competitive game, and that standout players on each side with the goalkeepers, so a little bit surprising that was a 0-0 draw. So West Torrens-Bacalla would have been hoping to come back strong, and I guess they'll still be hoping to come back strong. It's very early days in that one. But Croydon on the bounce a little bit. So a little bit of a contrast to the situation we see here tonight, with Comets just really struggling at the moment. And having a chat to a few people after the game last week, it just seems like they're struggling to make the team gel. And on the flip side, Playford playing with all sorts of confidence. But I think one of the interesting things tonight is, again, the fact that Babasaki's out. Penendez is in. What do you make of that?
Well, Babasaki's been hot for form this year. Obviously 4 goals in the league so far, but they're in of their captain Christos Penendez. He's had 3 goals. Probably could have had more. Missing 2 penalties back a few weeks ago against Campbelltown. I do believe the absence of Babasaki may hurt Playford, but as we've seen this season, their attacking threat's just so great, and it's deep, and they've got goal scorers. They've got Mullen, they've got Penendez, even Djurjevic.
Yeah, that was a bit of a surprise last week. Yeah, came on for Babasaki, who was injured, and I'm just going over the play-by-play that David Grant, who was on comms last week, gave me during midweek on one game at a time, and I think, he came off with the injury. Djurjevic came on and he was saying, yep, cool, he'll do a good job to see the game out and defend the position that they're at. And he came straight on. First touch was netting it. So pretty incredible. I think with regards to the Penendez versus Babasaki swap, I think they're both as good as marksmen, to be honest, but just the fact that they've had that two-man attack throughout a lot of the early games this year is, to be honest, it's been hard for me to pick my sort of best attacker out of the two. But I wonder if, given that they don't have that two-pronged attack, that might make things a little bit difficult for Christos Penendez. I don't know, as a keeper, how do you see that?
Quite potentially. It will be interesting, but I do see, look, in all honesty, I think Penendez being up top, he's got the experience. We know he can score goals. I think Playford will... They've had a very positive start to the year, so I don't think it'll be too much of an issue, especially against the young, inexperienced Adelaide Comets, who we've seen, they have their attacking issues themselves, scoring only 3 goals this season. But I guess as time goes on, we will see.
Well, I guess it would have been a little bit of confidence for Comets to have led last week at one stage, and they're about to kick off to get us underway. We're a few minutes behind schedule, but nothing too dramatic here. I think that'll be something big, but obviously still in search of the first win of the year as well. So who knows, tonight maybe be the turning point as we get underway at LJ Hilcomb Island Sports Park. Looking to put the captain, Aladdin Irabona, on the end of that, but it goes out and it'll be a early Playford City Patriots throw in. Let's compare the form. As we said, no wins so far for Adelaide Comets. Just one draw last week to Croydon and 5 losses for the home side. Playford City Patriots, 4 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. As Comets try to mount a bit of an attack early. Spadavecchia. Comets opt to retreat and take their time in build-up. Marilyn Bardos. Tabaris rapidly pursuing and trying to make their pressure felt. Irabona again. Played well and quickly to Harry Thomas, one of the incoming players for this week, rather. Gomakesma in the middle. Quick ball to Irabona. Should look to launch early. Well, he opted to cross instead and ends up going. That effort from Spadavecchia being stopped, and it finally goes out. Rapid start, Anton.
Well, yeah, great save there by Luke Osbite. That is Spadavecchia sitting at the back post. Almost had him 1-0 up. They've looked quick. Adelaide Comets are raring and they're ready to go.
And I think it's going to be players like Irabona who try to will on his team. And Gomakesma is a little bit more central by the looks of it. From when I've seen him other times this year, he's been a little bit more wide. He's waiting for that one in the middle, but it'll go over. Well, it won't go over everyone. It'll go over the line and go out for a Luke Osbite goal kick.
Similar to what we may have seen in the earlier fixture tonight in the Apex Steel Women's Premier League. Flinders obviously being the major underdogs. They look to get out fast, grab an early goal. Unfortunately, they weren't able to. But that seems as if that's what Comets want to do tonight.
Yeah, they're just going to be a little bit wary because Playford I've found so far this year have been so rock solid defensively, and they've had the speed of Babasaki going forward, but of course he's missing tonight, so that might be a little bit of a challenge to deal with as much as he's able to find the back of the net. Penendez is definitely a different type of striker to his quick Japanese counterpart.
Geez, your presence up forward though.
Yeah, huge. And a great leader as well. Centering ball. Just trying to get under control, Playford, but looks like it'll be dealt with. No, it'll go out. Or will it be in? What's happening? It's spinning all over the place. In terms of recent form, as we said, Adelaide Comets 2-2 away at Croydon. They went down 1-0 thanks to a Passia John goal for Croydon at the 29th minute. Equalised in the 37th thanks to Anthony Mavrolambalos. They went up 2-1 thanks to Gildas Gomakesma in the 51st. It was Oliver Trimboli in the 80th minute that equalised. This one will come in, right-footed in-swinger that didn't have to turn much back in. Looked like it really hugged the line, and now it's Adelaide Comets on the rebound. Thomas. He's got Gomwakezwa and Irabona. He chose Irabona, but not a great ball as Irabona has to track back to pick it up. He's looking in good form early on. Gildas Gomwakezwa showing off his footwork. The pick-up for Adelaide Comets this year. That's Spadavecchia. Gomwakezwa. Back to Spadavecchia, who's trying to put himself in a little bit of space. He goes to ground. So it's good to see Gildas Gomwakezwa having a bit more, I guess, impact early. Like I said, I've seen him play sort of wide early parts of this year. He's previously played at Adelaide Croatia Raiders, Macarthur Bulls, then Altona Magic most recently, and coming to be part of the Adelaide Comets 2026 campaign. Hasn't been the dream start to the year for him as they try to pick up some points, and this man feels like he's had the world on his shoulders as well. Lad Nirabona. We'll see what he can create from this. Well taken by Lucas by.
You do highlight Lad Nirabona struggling to make an impact this season. I've only noticed he's played the full 90 just once back in round 1. He's missed numerous games.
And I've noticed his body language as well being a bit frustrated at times, so I haven't had the conversation with anyone to confirm that there's been injury concerns, but, you know, perhaps it is a little bit of an indication that he's not been feeling up to his best, I guess. And then there's the fact that, of course, that Comets lost Jaden Labasso to the other side of town, with him going across to Campbelltown. And to be completely fair, I don't think he's made a huge splash at Campbelltown as of yet, but he's been so massive for Comets over recent years that I guess his absence is being felt, but I don't want to make it anything too negative for Comets, but it's just something for them to try overcome. And Gildas Gomwakezwa in the middle's certainly a bit of a different look for them as another attacking threat, and I guess it's looking promising the first 5 minutes or so in.
Don't mind putting Gomwakezwa up front, especially obviously he has got the potential. He did spend time at Macarthur in their academy, so I think it might be a matter of time as he opened his account last week. Maybe the floodgates will open now. And can he strike some form?
Now, we did talk about last week for Comets a little bit earlier, and we'll touch on Playford quickly, but I'm keeping one eye on this game as well. Maybe we'll just pause for a second as Comets look to build up again, and it seems like they're looking to control early on. A lot of energy from these players, and they're moving it around fast and furiously. It's a very different look at Comets so far compared to what I saw a little bit earlier this season, but my question at this point will be, can they keep this intensity throughout the game? I think it'll be a real threat if they can. Just talking about last week, a 2-1 win at home for Playford against Sturt, which was interesting because just the week before it was a 4-2 loss at home to Sturt in the Cup. They went 1-0 up thanks to a pen from Isaac Mullen, 2-0 up from Reece Jurjevic in the 84th. They conceded one in the 94th minute thanks to Gonzalo Rodriguez, but still managed to take all 3 points and consequently sit third on the ladder on 13 points going into this game. Irabona, as he waits for reinforcements to arrive. He's got Spadavecchia in the middle, and Thomas is a near option who goes on the overlap cross. Spy is just so solid, isn't he?
Absolutely. Take a leaf out of his book if you're a young goalkeeper. Very experienced player. Does all the right things.
And they've got a very solid backup keeper as well in the player that they picked up from Campbelltown in the off-season, Luke Maggetto, 25 years of age. I've got to say, he wasn't the most favoured goalkeeper or the most reputable in the NPL, but as a backup, and after spending a whole year playing as the first choice in the RA NPLSA, he's certainly no slouch as a backup. Bit of a dangerous situation here. Building, Penendez slid into take control of that now. It looks like the free kick has been won by Playford. So I think it'll be Penendis that lines up for this free kick. He's around about 21, 22 yards out. Pretty well straight in front, so there'll be a lot of goal face to aim for. It'll be Johnny Tremonton that has a little bit of work to do then to organise this. It'll probably be a 5-man wall and try to cover a fair bit of ground.
It's never good fun. No, they've got a free kick from this close out as a goalkeeper. I like to joke around with my teammates and say I'd rather face a penalty. No real pressure if you concede a penalty.
Yeah, I think when it's a pen, it's almost a foregone conclusion, isn't it? But just notice Penendis have fallen off. It won't be him that takes it. It'll go well over by Anthony Pictionary. Mentioned players on the move between Campbelltown City and both these sides. He's a pickup from Campbelltown for Playford City for this season.
It's not the only one there. Dan Vaughan as well. Had a long stint at Comets as a goalkeeper. And he's jumped ship with Jaden Labasso. So
he's been working hard over the last couple of weeks, I've got to say. In a couple of his games that I've commentated, he's been kept very, very busy. Three goals scored so far this season for Adelaide Comets. Naval Lombardos, Conor Keswer and Jake Porter, who's not playing tonight, each with one. Spanovecchia sends that in, but Playford managed to deal with it. On the side of Playford, Shota Babasaki with 4 of his own, Christos Penendis, Captain Playford with 3, Mullen, McGregor, Djurjevic with 2, and Tyson Herriman with 1 so far. Last season, Adelaide Comets finished in 9th, Playford City finished in 8th. For Adelaide Comets so far this season, looks like they've gone a little bit backwards as they sort of embark on a bit of a tough rebuild. And Playford City just looking strong. To be honest, I think they're one of the contenders for the competition this year, the RAA NPLSA. It is only round 7, but from what I've seen so far from them, I think the question will be the depth and also the level of competition, because teams like Metro Stars and Adelaide City, who we were talking off air about before, they've got a lot of depth, so I think they'll be tricky to deal with. How do you think their lineup sort of stacks up between the likes of those two teams?
The Playford City last year unfortunately weren't able to make finals, but I did notice every team in the bottom 6, Playford had scored way more than anyone else. So I think just the attacking presence of Playford, if they can solidify their defence properly, which so far they haven't done a bad job of, I think absolutely they're going to be in contention this year. They've started off all on the right foot. Just can they maintain? It is a long season. Still a long way in winter to go.
Well, just on the point of goals, the first few games this year I thought they were quite solid defensively. A little bit surprised just looking at recent results that they conceded 4 against Sturt Lions at home. Maybe a bit of an outlier. The week before that, it was a 1-0 away. And 2-2 draw away at Adelaide City before that, 2-1 win the round before that away at Campbelltown. So conceding multiple goals hasn't really seemed like something that Playford are doing. Irabona trying to get past Herriman on his own. He does well to slide and get in front of him. Maybe a little bit of a cheeky try from Marilyn Bartos to play that back for Aladdin Irabona to get a second bite, but it doesn't come off. Head-to-head last year, they played in round 22, final round of the year. It was a 4-3 win for Comets. 7 goals scored all up. It was Irabona with a hat-trick. Labasso, we've been talking about a lot, with 1 as well. It was Penendis, Ryan and Mullen that all scored for Playford that night, and it was right here at LJ Hooker Marlin Sports Park You go back to round 11 that season, it was a much quieter affair, just one goal, and it was Comets that also got the result that night, the 3 points. Gonwikezwa got a nice touch to it to get away from Harriman. He's got a little bit of space in front of him, and Iraboners looks to be offside. Looks like Spadavecchia calling for it on the far side, but they opt to keep it relatively central. Irabona again. He's got Thomas presenting on the inside, but Irabona's happy to take his time. Thomas now trying to drive it wide and crosses in. Looks like it's got too much on it. It'll just go over the top of everyone, but well done to Spadavecchia, who manages to keep it in and goes for a run of his own. Lombardos picks up the loose ball, and it goes all the way back to Damian Luic.
You can just see the speed of Gonwikezwa. He's able to bring the ball coast to coast. It was a great save from Drummondton to deny Playford the first. And Comets were able to get down the other side and create chances.
Lombardos just playing it forward. It was a little bit long for Irabona to pick up, and it's dealt with by Playford. Still managed to keep it in the middle, and they're making Playford chase, but here's a man with a fair bit of speed from Playford. Santiago Tabares managing to pick up the loose ball. He missed out on the first few matches this year. I believe it was due to suspension left over from the end of last year. It's good to see him back in the side, and it looks like he's part of that front two with Penendez. So if you're looking for speed to match the speed of Babasaki, he's the man to do it. And Penendez finds him with that one, but he loses it and goes to ground. Curtis Woodworth's whistle goes, and it'll be a Comets free kick. And we are just ticking over 15 minutes gone on the One World LED and Sportal System scoreboard. For all your indoor and outdoor LED solutions, you can see some stats on the screen as you speak of opportunities for either side so far tonight. Round 7 of the RAA National Premier League, South Australia. Chat to a local who backs you and your team. It's better to be a member with RAA. Well, we've got a brief pause in play. I can also tell you about school holidays. We are, of course, in the middle of school holidays. Football SA's Kickstart Game Ready Clinics are back. They're the perfect chance for boys and girls aged 5 to 14 to stay active, make new friends and build their skills through fun and engaging sessions. Don't miss out, spots are filling fast. Let's hear from the parents at halftime. We'll play you a brief video.
And while we're at it, Simon, we'll head over to Regency. We're in the 62nd minute. Croydon lead. West Torrens Bacalla 3-0.
Wow. 61 minutes, 3-0. Trimboli with a brace, and we don't know yet who the 61st minute scorer is. There you go, Croydon looking to find some form. We famously, last year they were tipped by some of our local media corps to go down, and the folks at Croydon love to remind everyone that they don't mind being underdogs and that they went on to win the championship, and looks like they're finally finding their form now as well. Had a bit of a chat to the folks at Croydon after they beat Metro Stars in the Cup game. They withstood Metro, who were just piling it on in the first half, and I think in the second it just totally switched. I'll come back to that in a moment as Playford centre it, but it's dealt with by Comets. Yeah, so they did really well to just switch the swing of things in the second half, Croydon, and punish Metro for not being able to put away their opportunities. And in chatting to George Tassunis, especially after the game, he said he was pretty happy with how they've been playing in the recent games up to that point, and just waiting, I guess, for a result for them to be rewarded with what they were doing. So it looks like if they can hold that 3-0 lead, which they'd be expecting to do, those results will continue to build. Throw in very high up. And Luic throws his body high into the air, and he's given away a penalty in the process.
Can argue against the run of play, Simon. Comets, obviously, they came out hot They've slowly dropped off a little bit, and now they've given away a penalty, which gives Playford a huge opportunity to make it 1-0. It's going to hurt a lot.
I feel that Irabon has a real chance to. Sorry, Irabon is just standing there arguing. It obviously won't be him that takes the penalty for Playford. I was just looking at Curtis Wordsworth. But Playford have a chance to not only take the lead, but get themselves a little bit of momentum. And it's 1-0, Playford. A penalty isn't the way you necessarily want to see the ledger open, but that'll do. And 1-0 is the way it looks 19 minutes in on the One World LED and Sportal System scoreboard. Mullen, I believe, actually didn't see the back of his shirt there.
It was Isaac Mullen, made no mistake. Sent Trumpington the wrong way, and he nets his second penalty in the space of 2 weeks.
Well, he had to wait 62 minutes to convert last week, so he doesn't have to wait quite as long tonight. And Playford are off to the start, and it's a little bit disappointing for Comets considering the rapid start that they've had. That now all of a sudden it's due to I guess defensive error, you can say, that they gave away the pen. I don't think we had the best view of that from where we're standing. We said that continually during the other match that we had, that the camera view isn't necessarily box seat everywhere, but it would have been cute. Didn't get a whole great picture of that, but it would have been very interesting to see what it looked like at ground level, that challenge. Chandler tried to deal with it, but put it in a little bit of a precarious position, and Evelyn Bartos plays it to Chandler, who again doesn't deal with it terribly convincingly. Comets do well to play it up the line to Irabona, and he's going to get past Harriman, who deals with it. Tyson Harriman's been one of the standout players for me, Playford so far this season. I think you mentioned defensively, I think the way they've stepped up this year, I think he's one of the players that's been a bit of a standout for him. He debuted for the Parrils Knights back in 2018. Obviously played with Martin Aparan, as well as his defensive prowess. Has found the back of the net on one occasion too for Playford so far this season. Gonwukesa were just battling, but he's got two white shirts all over him. Playford play it way long, and Johnny Tremontin comes well out to clear it, but Playford only manage again to pick it up, and it goes out. We're very close to the pitch at LJ Hooker Sports Park, so sometimes you catch a little bit of colourful language there, and you might have heard Matt Chandler giving some pretty direct feedback. Anton Violi on co-coms tonight and also on score check duty. What do you got there?
Apex Steel WNPLSA. We've got Salisbury Inter and West Torrens Bacalla locked at 0-0 in the 34th minute. As we highlighted in the early game, West Torrens Bacalla and Salisbury Inter. There's likely to be movement, especially if Adelaide Comets are pulling through tonight, picking up their 5-0 win. So West Torrens Bacalla, as it stands, sitting second. However, Salisbury Inter may be able to make the jump.
Well, I noticed Comets also did their bit to try even up goal difference with their nearest, I guess, ladder participants as Playford play it forward. Sabares managed to keep it despite the pressure from Chandler, but only puts into the back of Irabona. And a free kick's been called to go the way of Comets.
And then down at Steve Woodcock Sports Centre, Campbelltown and Adelaide Uni still remains 0-0.
Well, they had 6 goals there last Friday night, and that's when I was there, so I was pleased to see a little bit of action in that game. Looks like not off to the same start in Newton tonight.
It is the 64th minute. There were 3 goals scored in between the 61st and 66th minute, though.
Spadavecchia just managing to drive it into the 18-yard box and find Gonwukeswa, who has the footwork. Attempts to shoot, but is trying to get it past 3 Playford players, and Spadavecchia with maybe more of a shot out of frustration that goes out via deflection, and now it will be a Comets corner kick. Yeah, you were saying how many goals we were up to at this time of that Campbelltown fixture?
It was only 2-1 come the 61st minute. By the 66th, it was 5-1. So if there's a time for goals in that game, it's going to be now.
Left-footed, one that ends up dropping past the back post, and the tall timber for Comets went up for it in Chandler and Luich, but it's only headed out to give Playford a goal kick. Osby and Harriman just having a quick little word and maybe just trying to adjust tactics. They've felt under siege at times from Comets, who haven't been able to create, I guess, a huge amount of opportunities, but just a lot of pressure early. But, of course, Playford, the team, able to do the damage at this early stage with Mullen's corner converted in just the 20th minute. Goes out. Braden French not able to get to it. 29-year-old Braden French, one of the players that continues on for Para Hills as they aim to build on last year's 8th position in the RAA NPLSA standing. Seems Playford well and truly want to be a factor in the finals picture this year.
They're on course to do it as of now. Sitting in 3rd position.
Well, they'll be disappointed that they're not going to be taking part in the next round of the Australia and Federation Cup. They've got a bye after bowing out with that 4-2 loss against Sturt. So they will have next weekend off, while the other side of this fixture, Comets, will be facing Fulham United, the State League 1 side, and one of the standout State League 1 sides. And given Adelaide Comets' form in the top tier, I think it's actually going to be quite a competitive matchup. I think at this stage, given the fact they are in a bit of a rebuild phase and starting to build momentum, I think they need to continue to be met with stiff challenges. Yes. Well, that's getting a little bit heated just in front of us.
As disappointed as they would be, Playford exiting the Australia Cup, it may not be the worst thing ever. It gives them full focus on the RAA NPLSA season, which I'm sure they got ambitions this season. And as we've said, it may not be the worst thing to do. We've seen professional clubs have benefited from exiting knockout competitions.
I might be looking at it a bit for a selfish perspective, to be honest, because Playford's one of my favourite grounds to go to be honest. They've got a nice ground there, and it's always a good atmosphere. It's a unique type of ground with a bit of charm that I think other stadiums in this league don't necessarily have. So, to be honest, I'd also just like to see them host higher competition and interstate competition at that ground too. I think they'd be able to put on a really good show and have a really good atmosphere, but it won't be for 2026 as Tremonton had his hands full trying to clear that one. It's not completely out of danger yet, but now Comets try to rebound. Gonwikezwa, he's got a lot of space in front of him. He's got Thomas as reinforcement. He crosses, and it falls safely in the hands to Luke Osby, and he'll look to quickly get it back into play. Isaac Mullen, Chandler, big Canadian, cuts it off, goes back to Gonwikezwa. Thomas gets a short touch to it, but it's only turned back over, and now Comets are just really getting their skates on trying to play it up. They just look a little bit rushed at the moment. And Playford, I guess, managing to benefit from just trying to get things back under control. And right as we're saying that, Ben Moore just with the instructions below us just to slow it down.
That's twice now Adelaide Comets have broke off of the save or a punch of Tremonton, and it's through Gonwikezwa both times.
Here's Irabona. This time Gonwikezwa was waiting in the middle. The taller of the two. Goes in long all the way over the top. Spadavecchia gets a foot to it, and I believe it went out We'll look from here like I went out by the foot of one of the Playford players, but Osby's getting ready to take a goal kick, so what do we know from here? 28 minutes gone on the One World LED and Sportal System scoreboard for all your indoor and outdoor LED solutions. And it's either heated up a couple of degrees here, Anton, or it's maybe the game's a little bit quicker and we're pumped to be watching it.
Absolutely.
It was freezing at one point today, and although we had plenty of goals and action in the latter part of the Apex Steel WNPL game between Comets and Flinders United, it was getting very chilly despite 5 goals being scored in the second half. But it's good to see the second leg of this double header at LJ Hookham Island Sports Park is living up to the Friday night hype promised. Really
Prime time slot.
Yeah, and good pressure shown from Comets so far. I think they've done a good job in the first half an hour or so. Are we half an hour in? Let's check our watches, because yeah, we are half an hour. We got caught out due to not having a good view of the clock in the first game. Not the first time it's happened in this particular ground. I know some of our fellow commentators have been caught out before, and it got us tonight, but that's all right. It's only going to happen once, as Tabaris a little bit overzealous in trying to win that one and gives away a free. As we said, 4 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss to the visitors, Playford City Patriots. Comets just 1 point claimed from the 6 games so far this season. But again, Comets can say they're through to the next round of the Federation/Australia Cup, while Playford bowed out early last round to their NPL competition in Sturt. They did get the victory against them the week after, though, in last week's round 6 of the RA NPLSA.
Fulham won't be no slouch next weekend, however. A few mixed results in State League 1, but they're on a hot streak, and they've scored 18 goals in their last 4 outings, have Fulham. 6 against South Adelaide, 6 against Para Hills West, and a 4-0 win over Adelaide Cobras.
Yeah, I haven't seen him since I saw him in the final round, I think it was, of last year, West Beach against West Adelaide, and they were very impressive then. So Osby not to be caught out by that one, and he'll just slow things down and help Playford just try to get the pace of play back on their terms. The game has slowed down slightly. Is that fair to say? Only slight, I think, and Comets had tremendous energy coming out the gates tonight, and I think overall they haven't fallen off too badly. Well won by Mullen. Here's Penendez. He's got Tabaris as a runner in the middle. He gives himself a little bit more space. Offloads it and goes to try to put himself on the end of a 1-2. They come back for another go at it. Playford. Braden French doing his best to let Harry Thomas feel his presence. A little bit of a shout from the Comets bench that perhaps should have been a free. Nice ball sent in from Missionary that sort of curled away a little bit there. It's a funny old ball. Almost found McGregor on the end of it, but after all that, it'll be Johnny Tremonson that will clear.
With the game slowing down slightly, Simon, I do think it does play in Playford's advantage. Obviously, it was more Adelaide Comets who were the one that came out quick. They somewhat caught Playford on the back foot really early. And now as the game's mellowed out slightly, as you said, still very quick-paced, I do believe, especially if Playford 1-0 up, it does play into their hands a bit.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. I was here when Comets hosted West Torrens Bacala in round 1 or 2 of the season, and to be honest, there's a little bit of a different look. Comets, I think they have maybe matured even a little bit in the last few weeks compared to what I'm seeing tonight, and a bit of a different setup. And that was another game where they came out very fast and furious, and I think they were trying to catch West Torrens-Bacalla in that instance on the back foot, and they looked threatening at times, but I think, sometimes you do get those games where your opposition does look threatening, but a mature team is still able to deal with that and still get rewarded with goals against them. And maybe it's a little bit of a similar story in this game, because I think it's fair to say Playford, another team that's hugely experienced, maybe not as much so as West Torrens-Bacalla, but just a really experienced team that is really happy to dictate play, and they don't get too rattled. I think they're quite an organised, patient team that are able to pick their chances.
Obviously, with Comets only scoring the 3 goals this year, I'd love to have a clean sheet. Playford, a big confidence boost. Not that they necessarily need one.
Yeah, but I think it certainly wouldn't hurt at this point of the season as well, especially since almost getting a result against Croydon. If they can take points in a couple of games successively, I think that would be something to help them gain a lot of confidence. Irabona, he's got Gomulkezwa in the middle, but he's trying to drive it as far as possible as Harriman goes to ground. He centres it, and Thomas has a crack, but it was a bit of a loose ball fall from Irabona. I'm not quite sure who his intended target was. And in the end, it wasn't good enough to try put away.
I believe it was Spadavecchia with the shot off. Just couldn't get over it. Leant back a bit too much. He was off balance.
I think it was a little bit of a dash for him to get back there, to be fair. He wasn't Irabona's best ball.
He made a chance out of it.
Yeah, he did.
So he's done well there, to his credit.
Chandler. Now it's Tabaris breaking, and he's taking his Comets defenders for a run. But Chandler manages to win it, the Canadian. Do you want to have a guess at Matt Chandler's height?
3 foot taller than myself.
Shot from Marlon Tabaris. Was looking to follow it up, but
what do you got for me, Simon?
Dealt with 1.97 centimetres.
1.97.
Sorry, not centimetres. 1.97 metres.
Wow.
That's a nice ball in. Comwicaz, will he get the first touch? He does. Just glazes over the crossbar, and I think that might have been their best opportunity so far from Comets. The sort of ball that I think they've been looking for the past 37 minutes or so. It was a brilliant one, but not to be in this instance. But much better from Comets, I think it's fair to say, in this first half overall, compared to maybe what they've demonstrated as of late. Free kick 1. Not quite sure what happened there, but there was a little bit of a sarcastic cheer from the far end of the pitch, so I'm sure they've seen something that we missed from here once again. Go right into the goal face, and Comwicaz went up for it, but he had a man Mountain in Menendez to overcome. It'll be Harry Thomas that throws in. Now it looks like this will be one of the long throws that I was hinting at in the earlier game of this doubleheader that I was hoping to see. Ball's just to the outside of the 6-yard box. Irabona comes up and gets ahead to it. Spadavecchia. Irabona! It was going the right way, but Osbar got in the way of it. Gomulkezwa plays it back, and looks like Comets will be able to build up once again. He's the almost 2-metre tall Canadian coming again.
Just want to highlight Philip Spadavecchia there. I've got to say, he's looked one of the better Adelaide Comets attackers. Not only creating chances for himself, but creating chances for his teammates there. He's able to get Irabona through there, who very nearly made it 1-1.
Just 20 years of age Philip Spadavecchia, and we'll mention Fulham United. He's actually a former Fulham United player, so I'm sure he'll be relishing opportunity to play his former side next week as Judas Gonwakezwa's legs get tied up with Ethan Allgate. There was a bit of a shout from the Comets bench about that. They have won a free kick, and we'll get back underway. Luic goes short to Mavrolambardos, and they decide to share it a little bit between them. Now Chandler in a bit more time, and now it's Comets just trying to slow down the action a little bit. Mavrolambardos again. He's got Thomas calling for it in the wide position, but he opts to go central. Konomopoulos finds Spadavecchia, and he's battling to get past Allgate. He's backing himself in, but eventually decides to go back to supporting Winslow Park. Shot from outside. It looked threatening from where we were standing. The Comets bench got excited about it, but I think in the end it ended up well wide. It's a little bit hard to judge from this particular angle. I'm not sure who even got the final shot off in the end. It might have been Konomopoulos or Park. Sometimes when we're on these games, it's a little bit tricky to talk about the players on the far end from us, and that's Park at the moment, but he's a player that has been having a tremendous amount of impact. Irabona goes central. Konomopoulos, best he can do in the end is just a bit of a loose touch. Mullen trips over it, and Comets were hoping to pick up a loose ball. God, that ball just made me flinch.
Big shift in momentum though. Adelaide Comets, they've got their rhythm back from what we saw early on in the first 10-15 minutes. And they've probably created more chances in the last 15 or so minutes. Playford have had to retreat somewhat.
I've got to be honest with you, I was only half listening to what you were saying there because there was a little bit of afters happening just below us between Ben Moore and Thomas Overall. I'm not quite sure what that was about, but I'm not sure if we got the camera. A little bit of foot skill shown from Ben Moore below us with the spare ball. I'm not sure if maybe Tom Overall wasn't appreciative of that.
It's always interesting when the two coaches butt heads. In reality, they're only standing 10 metres away from each other, aren't they?
And there's certain grounds where in commentary position we got the box seat of it. This is one of them. I mean, there's bonuses because we can hear exactly what they say, but the drawback is they can hear exactly what we say. So sometimes there is a little bit of a back and forth or live feedback. But yeah, it is always interesting. If you're ever watching a game on FSA Leagues and it's at LJ Hooker Marlin Sports Park or Adelaide City Park and the commentators go quiet, we're probably trying to catch what the benches are saying.
Even at FK Belgrade as well.
True.
That one too.
Yep, true.
Training ground routine here from Playford.
Benedez will... Looks like he did get a touch, but he had Luic in the way of it. Gonwakezwa on the break, but Harriman again does a great job. Clears along. Been singing his praises a little bit, but you just see how solid a defender he is. I believe we're 42 minutes gone on the One World LED and Sportal scoreboard for all your indoor and outdoor LED solutions.
While we're at it, can give us an update. Regency Park, Croydon have now made it 4-0.
What is going on?
And Kato at the double.
Wow. Well, that's interesting because up until this point, West Torrens Pacala, well, we can't say they've won all games because they had the goalless draw last week against Metro Stars, but they did have the perfect record up until last week, and it looks like they're going to have their first defeat of the year. It's Tabaris breaks past Luic, goes to ground. It was a half appeal for a pen, but Curtis Wordsworth didn't flinch. The best Playford will get is a throw in their attacking half. Just going back to that. 4-0 lead for Croydon. I wouldn't have tipped that going into this game, but that's absolutely huge. Long throw. Looks like Chandler will get the boot to it. We're going to get a touch here, Anton. No, we won't. Goes
Playford City bench instead.
Yeah. I'm glad about that, to be honest.
It's a bit cold.
Yeah, I didn't fancy my first touch of the night. Even punching it away, I think it'd break my frozen knuckle at the moment.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
If you're in the crossbar at the moment at LJ Hooker Mile in Sports Park at the moment, you're in the exact right spot. You guys look really warm up there. More goals before half-time. What do you think? We haven't got a whole lot of time. In fact, we've only got 30 seconds. I don't think there's going to be a lot of time added on.
I don't believe so. However, I do feel Adelaide Comets, they wouldn't mind an extra 5 minutes in the half if they could.
Park goes backward and they build back up through the middle, but Playford cut it out. Menendez, nice little ball, slipped through. Tabaris was hoping to pick it up on the far side, but it ends up being loose. Chandler, he eyed off a long option and now he picks it. Spadavecchia. Looked like it wasn't going to be easy for him against Allgate. That's a little battle. I think second half we're going to get a bit of a box seat look at that. Spadavecchia versus Allgate. Battle, unless things move around a little bit. Actually, when things do switch up, I think that right-hand side for Comets will be something that will be an interesting watch on the camera side if it plays out the same way in the second half. Over Lombardos. It goes over, just ticking over 46 minutes. And there goes the half-time whistle from Curtis Wordsworth. So I think overall, probably fair to say that Comets have had the run of play. I think they've been working very hard to have that. And Playford City on the flip side, been pretty composed, haven't allowed themselves to be rattled. And have also managed to be able to put the pen away as well, which they won, and put themselves up into the lead. Your assessment of the first half?
Absolutely. Playford were able to take control when they needed to. You could argue they had the bulk of momentum through that middle part of the first half, I'd say so, whereas Adelaide Comets, they showed bursts of 5 to 15 minutes where they're threatening, but I strongly believe that in this second half, if they are able to continue that, I reckon we may be in for a couple goals, even on both ends. They've looked great on the counter as well, have Adelaide Comets. Certainly keeping the Playford defence on their toes.
Well, we'll be back in a moment to check out how the second half goes. In the meantime, check this out. School holidays are almost here. Our Kickstart and Game Ready clinics are back these holidays. They're the perfect chance for boys and girls aged 5.
I signed my child up. Well, this is probably second time, I reckon. Last year we did it as well.
I thought it'd be good for her to get out and be active because she loves playing soccer.
It's just great to get the kids out, especially off the iPads and stuff like that as well.
She's made new friends, and I'd definitely recommend it to other people.
So you just enjoy the game and just enjoy playing with other kids, yeah.
For over 25 years, HPG Homes have been helping South Australians build and own their dream home. Whether it's a house and land package, custom build or development, our HPG fixed price guarantee ensures no nasty surprises or price changes along the way. We're committed to quality, affordability and creating a way of life for you and your family. Fixed price, turnkey. It's gotta be HPG. HPG Homes.
At Service FM, we know every workplace is different. Every challenge is unique. That's why we personalise our services to our customers' different needs across different industries. From medical to mining and manufacturing, hospitality to healthcare, commercial to defence. So when you need to create a better work environment, you need Service FM. Proud partner with Football South Australia.
Inside. 10 pass isn't really that great, but they still have it. Shot from distance, and that is an absolute rocket from Caelan Laird. Super sub comes on, makes it 3-0.
Cutting inside, has to strike. Hussein! That's an unbelievable goal, Abu Hussein, for his first of the club. We're only 5 minutes in here, but he's almost taken the net off.
Ball. Bucco now. Great first field pass to Dominic Costanzo in this side here on his left. Gets a shot in, that's goal bound! And it's gone in. Fine finish by Dominic Costanzo, making it 1-1 on the One World LED and Sportal scoreboard. And maybe more. Scores update in a minute here as this free kick comes in from Kasimovic. He's hit it well. Oh, Hasan Kasimovic. Pick that one out. Oh, that's I've got no words, Paul. That doesn't happen very often, but that's a fine free kick.
No, that's a super strike. Super strike.
Might have been playing out to the path of Batistella, but too weak for pass in the end now. Forward on the break, Sia John has a shot from distance. Wow! Goal of the week! Sia John!
One of the best signs that we know when it is a positive experience is when children keep coming back. We want them to be open to make a mistake so they keep learning. The learning is hidden within the games. So as much as possible, get in contact with the ball.
The kids are repeating the drills a lot, so it just becomes a muscle memory. The kids don't need to focus on the skill itself, they just do it naturally, yeah.
I love refereeing because it's a challenge, to go out to try and get the right decision, manage some of the egos or the personalities, knowing that you've got all these different types of people at play. And there's actually been a good life school as well. I started refereeing junior games on the Sunday. I was playing in senior football on the Saturday, so I felt like making some money. I think I was a decent player back then. I could have stayed around and played senior football in NPL, but I decided to go refereeing, and I've got in the National League much quicker than if I was as a player. Probably wouldn't have made it as a player, to be honest. Just kind of never looked back and was happy to progress. But I think people should try refereeing. I think it's a great tool to realise how you can also contribute to part of the game. There's pathways. Definitely it can be a rewarding career.
For over 25 years, HPG Homes have been helping South Australians build and own their dream home. Whether it's a house and land package, custom build or development, our HPG fixed price guarantee ensures no nasty surprises or price changes along the way. We're committed to quality, affordability and creating a way of life for you and your family. Fixed price, turnkey. It's gotta be HPG. HPG Homes.
Adelaide wakes up with 5AA, David Penberthy and Will Goodings. Tom Wren for sport. Jade Robran on the scene as it happens. Jess Adamson with the news that matters to Adelaide. Breakfast with David and Will, bringing together the names you trust with everything you need to know to start your day. Always live, always local and only on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
So the Youth Club Championship, we've designed a structure where the under 13s, under 14s, under 15s and 16s all compete together as one club. They'll play at the same venue, they'll play one after each other. It allows the technical director to be at the venue to help educate and look after the coaches, and also there's a focus on player development.
Players are now knowing where they are at and the pathway to follow each year. If they continue with the YCC, they should be in a position where they can go into senior football. It's a lot clearer around the steps they need to take to keep tracking as a player.
We've created an additional YCC training session or seminar night. All the players involved had the opportunity to do an extra additional skills session development plan, and we had Adrian Stanter coming in to talk about how to become a more professional player from a younger age.
The fact that as a club we are investing heavily in the juniors to ensure that we're putting those tools in place that the YCC is wanting from us, that's certainly bringing around some benefits to the club and to junior development across the board.
Everyone's trying to obtain points for their club, but also with a strong focus on how do we create a competition where players can play against like players.
The one thing I have noticed is it's been a bit more focused on getting the balance right. So, trying to keep the best teams playing against each other throughout the entire year and not having this big disparity between one team or another, one club or another.
So what it has allowed us to do is have quality games every week, which has benefited the competition and given the girls a chance to sort of understand what it's like to play at that elite level. While development is a good focus, the YCC does bring out the aspect of results as well, which helps find that balance for players to transition to senior football.
So I think with the YCC structure now in place, there's become a better level, and with a better level there's been higher intensity within our sessions, and that's allowed for greater development in terms of a player technically, tactically, and that's given them the best chance to keep improving their game.
Yeah, look, I think there's certainly brought around a lot of excitement to the club on YCC Day. The club's buzzing. A lot of the parents and players really enjoy seeing the kids play and what is really now an elite pathway in junior football in our state.
Something that resonated with me right on the onset was about connecting a budding footballer with the right coach with the right club, and the right club being part of the right football environment. So the YCC tells me that this has been a fantastic implementation by Football South Australia.
Still in the box, and it's another goal!
Came out 4-2 winners in what you can say is a big upset against the league leaders.
Yeah, so first defeat for West Torrens Bacalla. Of course, it was a draw last week, but no points at all, which, you know, they're league leaders at the moment, so it gives the teams behind them, including Playford, a chance to near that gap.
And in the Apex Steel Women's National Premier League, Campbelltown City and Adelaide Uni have fought out a hard battled 0-0 draw at Steve Woodcock Sports Centre.
Playford looking to start with some pace today. In the second half, rather. Caught me a little bit off guard there. Fernandez getting some involvement. Trying to get one early for Playford City and double the lead. They'll get ready for a corner. We've probably got a couple seconds to talk about the other game.
And Salisbury Inter lead West Torrens Bacalla 1-0 in the Apex Steel WNPL.
So that's an interesting one too, given that that's I guess a bit of a top of the table clash as well. As Playford sent it in, falls just shy of the near post, and it goes out again. And just for the final score as well, the first game at LJ Hookham Island Sports Park ended up being a big win for Adelaide Comets against Flinders United. It was a bit of a better start from Flinders United in previous outings. I guess another team that looked like they were hoping to bounce, but Comets just showing their quality in the end and prevailing, getting 5 goals. So huge result to get the crowd warmed up. I think the home team here will want something to cheer about, and they'll certainly have that if Comets can get their result, their first time taking 3 points, if they manage to get the win against Playford here tonight. But as we said, Playford already 1 goal, and just starting with a little bit more intensity in this half. As we said, Penendez managed to keep possession in the middle, and that's a long ball looking for Tabares, but Black Park managed to get between it, and Johnny Tremonton commands that 18-yard box and claims that and distributes it out. So we're going to get a bit of a different look at this second half, just with some of the matchups. Spadavecchia was, I guess, especially during the second half of the first half, was a player we're watching, and Ethan Allgate's got a bit of a job to do to him, so they're the 2 players closest to us at the moment. Park is playing right back, and he'll look to overlap and get involved with the attack as well. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a bit of a different thing to observe in the second half here as well. But initially, Playford controlling a lot more possession, I think it's fair to say, as Chandler chases that and just sees it over. It'll be a goal kick.
Talking of matchups as well, both goalkeepers tonight made some great saves. Obviously, Tremontian just making that one to his bottom right moments ago. But Osby in the first half was able to make a good save to keep the scores locked at 1-0.
Allgate just giving Osby a little bit of safety, and Playford eventually deal with that, and it'll be a Park throw-in. He goes short. Spadavecchia, I believe it was, just being helped off of the pitch, and now he's gone to ground. Judging from his body language, it looked like it hit him somewhere painful. No, he's actually holding his wrist. Looks like he's in some discomfort, but he's shaking the wrist, but he also looks like he's limping as well. So that challenge a little bit comfortable, but no doubt he'll try to run that off. Goes long. Captain Christos Penendez goes up for it, and Chandler ends up clearing. Gonwakezwa, who was displaying a lot of energy, especially maybe the first 10-15 minutes of the half. He's a little bit quieter throughout the later parts, but a little bit more central today, and hoping to be a bit more of a key for Comets going forward. But I think so far, Anton, pretty end-to-end in the first 5 minutes of the second half.
Yeah, that's somewhat what we've expected. Obviously, Playford knew exactly how Comets were going to come out. It actually almost seemed as if Playford wanted to give Adelaide Comets a bit of their own medicine. They came out. It
does seem like
quick.
that, doesn't it? Yeah. I think they're saying, all right, you want to come out fast, we can come out with intensity as well. So I guess that's maybe why it's been a little bit end-to-end.
But it is going to set us for an exciting second half.
A little bit of a shout for handball, and I think it did hit the arm of the defender, but of course the rule does now take into account whether it's unintentional is the word I was looking for. So
I believe that's a third penalty shout. Curtis Woodsworth has had to make a call on tonight. He's been very firm and assertive. So,
yeah, well, one of the most highly regarded refs in this competition as well. And one of the things that, just on the topic of refs, just to blow him up a little bit here, one of the things that impresses me, and we were talking about this off-air, I think, or on-air earlier, I can't quite remember. I had the chance to watch a game at ground level last week, and commentating, we spent a lot of time watching the game from up high from the scaffold, and one thing you realise when you're watching the game at ground level is just how much quicker things move, and you haven't got quite the same field of vision. So from that perspective, I do keep in mind how difficult a ref's job is when they do have to watch all the proceedings with how fast it is, and you know how much, I guess, narrower the range of vision is as well. And so you get these experienced refs, and I think one of the things that we don't always talk about is just the quickness that they can read the game with and how quick they can make their decisions. It's like a player that's on the pitch with their level of skill and the quicker the gameplay. That's one of the things that is as much of a skill as everything else they can do with the ball.
keep in mind that's your view from ground level. The referee's actually in the middle of the pitch.
Yeah, even closer to it. Comets managed to win it back, and despite Playford just turning up the dial a little bit, so far they look to be dealing with the additional pace and pressure. By the way, I want to quickly say hello to those that have joined us on FSA Leagues now that the Croydon and Bacalla game has wound up, and of course the other Apex Steel WNPL fixtures. I think we're in for an exciting remainder of this game. Irabona goes central. Economopoulos finds Spadavecchia. Back to Mavrolimbardos and Luic.
As you do give a shout out, there's probably not much else on TV at 9:43 on a Friday night.
Yeah, you're right, and maths is all done, so there's no replays to catch on that. Sorry, I'm referring back to an off-air conversation we had earlier. I know you're no, that's all right. You're not the biggest fan in this commentary box.
I'll keep the opinions to myself.
It is but that's all right.
FSA League's YouTube channel is where it's at.
Yeah, I know what I'd rather be watching. Irabona crosses it. Falls just ahead of Economopoulos. Goes out. So now Comets just wrestling back control a little bit, I think it's fair to say. Park tried to take that throw in quickly and gain some yards in the process, and Curtis Wordsworth just stamping that out. Park just had a wall of white shirts in front of him belonging to both Christos Penendis and Xavier Pratt. Pratt, one of those experienced heads in this Playford team, 31 years of age. NZ player, formerly of Wellington Phoenix and Gold Coast United, and the first team player of the year for Playford last year. Taurang City is who he debuted for back in 2010. I probably butchered the name, but apologies to our NZ viewers. A little bit of a grab just onto the side of Harry Thomas, enough to hold him up there. They won the free kick, but they opted to play on quickly. Park is having his space quickly shut down by Santiago Tavares, and he opts to go back to Luic. He's being pursued as well by three players in white, but plays it forward, in a little bit of a hurry in the end, and it just goes out ahead of Spadavecchia. Okay. This time it's Spadavecchia doing the chasing. They managed to get that ball forward, but only as far as Park, who spills it back over. Tavares, despite his pace, he won't be able to get to that one before it goes out. Comets to throw in. Park did well to fight Gonwaka's opportunistically perhaps, and Comets win a free kick. They were trying to break quickly, and I think Mullen perhaps assessed the threat there and got in front of it.
Simon, we did discuss at half-time a few players we would have liked to get on the ball a little bit more, specifically for the Adelaide Comets, and Nicholas Economopoulos was certainly one of them, and I have noticed this second half is being on the ball a lot more. We all know how dangerous he can be, obviously winning that free kick.
Gonwakezwa got a touch to it, but goes straight back over to Mullen. Now it's Penendis, who does a great first touch to bring that high ball down. Quickly finds Mullen with it. Now it's back with him. The whistle goes, and this will be a Playford ball. Just to go back to your point, yeah, absolutely agree with you. You spoke at half-time about maybe which players have been a little bit quiet, and Economopoulos hadn't really stood out to us in the first half, but seemed to have some involvements pretty early in the first half. Maybe working a little bit higher up the field at the moment as well, just to provide some support. You see there, he's trying to go up and put some pressure on Osby. Game's been a lot more stop-start over the last couple of minutes. It's becoming a little bit of an arm wrestle. I believe we're 57 minutes. I can't quite see past that post on the clock. I'm going to roll with 57 because I know it's definitely not 47. We've had a bit more of the game in the second half. Oh, shot from distance. Low and hard and a decent attempt, but ends up going over, and Playford City not able to double their lead as of yet. So, going back to clock talk, just shy of 60 minutes on the One World LED and Sportal System scoreboard for all your indoor and outdoor LED solutions. Changes potentially coming, and as I say that, the Comets bench are getting ready to warm up.
Wonder if we'll get a repeat of what we saw in the first game this evening. I reckon Adelaide Comets had 3 goal scorers come off the bench in their 5-0 win.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point. Well, Jake Porter is on the bench for Adelaide Comets, and he was, for me, one of the notable omissions. So he is on the bench, along with Jake Dorsey, Sebastian Good, Cameron Hayes, and Panayoti Politis, the backup keeper, Yanni Delengas. And on the bench for Playford, Jackson Kurtz, Cameron Harris, Daniel Ryan, Malad Ahmad, James Owen, and Luca Maghetto, the backup keeper. We mentioned at the top of the broadcast, Adelaide Comets coming off that draw away to Croydon last week. At one stage, they did lead 2-1. Thanks to Comets putting them in front in the 51st minute. Other goal coming from Anthony Mavrolambardo, so it's the first time they'd claimed a point so far this year. They do still sit in 11th on the ladder, though. That's a nice ball in, and Johnson coming out confidently to claim it and punches it all the way out for a Playford throw-in.
Judging off Croydon's recent form, you can argue that 1 point for Comets was a big point.
Yeah. Yeah, I think at this stage of the season, just trying to, I mean, you have the worst possible start to the season, consecutive losses. You're probably just searching for a bit of a turning point. Just something for the players to come away with a little bit of confidence. I think from what we saw tonight when they first came out, I think they were and have been all night playing with a lot more confidence. I think in the second half, Playford City been maybe a little bit more of a threat, but I don't think necessarily Adelaide Comets have been outplayed. I think there still is a very good chance that we may see them get some goals on the board as Gomakeswa tries to do something about that at this very minute. He goes back. Comets managed to get away from that with free kick. And Mavrolambardo takes it quickly and did a decent job of finding Spadavecchia, if not for Ethan Allgate getting between it. Now this will be a throw-in from a very advanced position, and no, it'll be one better than a throw-in. Looks like it will be a corner kick, so Mavrolambardo will be the one to take, and it'll be a left-footed in-swinger. A couple of Comets players going around Luke Osby, but just watching the frame of Osby compared to the other players standing next to him, I don't think he's the sort of player to be physically intimidated. Playford now rushing forward, but Comets managed to clear it out of danger. Not a bad view of the city skyline in front of us in the background of LJ Hooker Mile in Sports Park, is it?
We were discussing earlier. It's probably one of the better backdrops in the league. Well, honestly,
I think that's fair.
I've always loved a good city view. It's no Gold Coast or Sydney, but
got the RAA Tower standing proudly there, and it is, of course, the RAA NPLSA. I thank RAA, naming rights sponsor of the competition, and chat to a local who backs you and your team. It's better to be a member with RAA. Gomakeswa. He breaks free and he finds Irabona. It's a good ball to him. Releases! And we're level! The one that Adelaide Comets have been looking for comes in the 62nd minute. And who else but Captain Comet, Aladdin Irabona.
Well, Simon, I was just about to highlight it. Irabona, he probably hasn't added as much of the ball as he would have liked in this second half. But all it takes is one thing, one moment, and And he is able to level the scores up. Brilliant ball from Gomukeza. Trivella out to his captain, and he made absolutely no mistake. Scored a hat-trick against Playford last time out. Boy, what would he do to do that again?
Well, it's a little bit of a, I guess, contrast, because that's actually his first goal in NPL competition this year. You mentioned that he hasn't played in every game. He's played portions of some games, so it looked like he came out with a little bit more gusto, so it's great to see Adelaide and Irabona get on the board and hence level up this game. Playford came out with a lot of intensity, and I think that's only going to build now, and looks like Comets are going to make a change now. Ben Moore hasn't looked to his bench as of yet. Might even be a bit of a game of patience from this point. I think it's been a pretty evenly matched game. Like, is that fair to say?
Absolutely. Both teams have played different games.
Ball comes in and just goes over to Barris's head, and Irabona, he's playing with that flair we've come to know from him. Has he found another gear as well now? What's he doing? He's all over the place.
I don't think it's just him. I think
maybe the execution wasn't quite at that time, because he spills it again to Barris.
You can see the lift in the heads of the players in the park for the Adelaide Comets. They're up and about. Now they've got one.
Like we said, when you do have a less than ideal start to the season, you start to look for a little bit of a turning point to just switch your confidence on. So sometimes it's a result, sometimes it's a goal. As we said, a big win for the women's team, the women's seniors in the Apex Steel WMPL. I guess curtain raiser with a 6:15 kickoff tonight. And if the men can make it 2 from 2 this evening, it'll be a big cause for celebration. But here's a threatening opportunity for Playford. They deal with it. Initially, now it's Comets on the rebound. Playford gets to it first, and it's cleared out to danger.
Very well done there by Allgate to cancel out the pace of Spadavecchia.
The whistle just went on Minson Park again, who is trying to claim some extra yardage once more. Yeah, that's the matchup we were talking about at the end of the first half, because it's something we get a bit of a closer look at, Spadavecchia and Allgate. So yeah, I think that's going to continue to be one to watch throughout the rest of this game if both those players stay on. They're looking for Irabona again, but that time it's a little bit looser now. Irabona will have to do some high defending. Playford maybe end up rushing it forward a little bit, and Tavares does a pretty good job of keeping it in, but it ends up going out eventually by a little bit of a pinball between the players in white. Gianni Tremontin will take this goal kick. Now, we haven't seen the changes yet, despite Comets' bench. I guess they sprung to action a few minutes ago, so the players still warming up, and yeah, the Comets coaches just having a quick little word with each other again. Gomukeza gets ahead to it, and it goes to Irabona, and they've broken again, Comets. The shot.
I'm sure Tom Overall would be happy to leave this 11 on the park for another 5 to 10 minutes. They're up and about. Once again, Economopoulos, he was through there. They're creating chances. The momentum has shifted big time, and it's in the home side's favour.
It is. Economopoulos was sort of the key of that last little build-up, and Gomukeza got a nice handy flick to it there, and looks like in the end they just sort of ran into traffic. Playford just managed to shut down the ball and stop all that momentum going forward in a really, really dangerous area. But despite Comets having, I think, the wind at their back at the moment, and I mean that figuratively, because they're also kicking into a strong breeze that's keeping us cool at the moment, they do have to be careful, because we saw Playford won that pen earlier, converted it, put themselves 1-0 up, and they can be so dangerous so quickly, I guess.
Playford will look to slow the game down a little bit, so and then they go long.
1 draw and 1 loss so far this season for Playford, so I think it's safe to say they came into this game as the favourites. Park tried to slip it through a couple of players in white, but didn't manage to get there as Luich comes out to keep it forward. Now it's Penendez. That's a really good flick from Penendez to find Piscineri. Back to Piscineri now, but he's under attack. He does very well to keep it from Carlton. Back to Willard, and he's found Harriman. He's got space in front of him. Whistle goes, and it's offside. And it looks like this will be the chance for Comets to make their change, and it's Jake Porter. Did his sister find the back of the net in the other game? Did we end up getting consensus on that? There was a little bit of shirt confusion earlier on.
Did we ever work out if it was related to Joel Porter, the head?
It's his daughter, yeah.
It is
yeah.
his daughter,
So
okay.
it'd be Jake's sister then. Yeah, so the Porter family affair tonight. And, yeah, I'm a little bit surprised about that. Shout out to the guys just below the scaffold saying g'day. Shout out Vangeli Agalitis. You guys can't all get shout outs, but have a good night, enjoy. The kids here will be pleased if Comets get a win, no doubt.
I'll certainly be waiting for that on the delay.
If they get to the club rooms really quickly, they might get on delayed. Meanwhile, I think this will be a bit of a cause for delay. One of the Comets players going for ground, and they sort of called for medical help pretty hurriedly. I didn't actually catch which player it is that went down, and just by the way he's kicking the grass, he doesn't look in a great state at the moment.
Back to the substitution. That was Philip Spadavecchia who did make way for Jake Porter.
Well, he got a little bit of applause from the bench as he came off too, so clearly they like what we saw from him as much as we did in that first half. He was a bit of a handful for Allgate. Oh God, call for a stretcher here. That's not good.
Good sign. Teams will take a moment to have a breather. Probably benefits Playford a little bit more than it does Adelaide Comets.
I might take a quick moment to try catch that on the replay if you're at home watching on FSA Leagues. You're probably going to get to see that before I do, but didn't quite catch the incident that led to that. A little bit of a contrast of bench situations at the moment. Christos Penendez just trying to remind his team, I guess, what to focus on at the moment, and Comets actually looking quite upbeat and positive at the minute.
Around the grounds, Salisbury Inter lead West Torrens Bacala in the Apex Steel NPLSA. That currently has Salisbury Inter sitting in second spot.
All right, I've got the vision in front of me of that collision. And it looks like a leg that actually got caught of the Comets player. And I actually still can't tell you who it is because I didn't see the number. In a moment, I'll be able to tell you by... Oh, there you go. I think he's 23. So Cameron Carlton is the player that's down, and he's currently getting stretched off, which is a sad sight when a leg gets caught. Immediately you start thinking of pretty catastrophic injuries for a footballer. I don't want to talk too soon here, but that's very unfortunate. So forced into a change at this stage. Sure. Adelaide Comets, we wish him all the best, of course. It'll be Sebastian Good that will see out this game. Sorry, Anton.
I'm sure the Comets faithful will give him a round of applause as he heads off. And everyone we'll be wishing him all the best, and hopefully nothing too serious.
Yeah, I think at the moment they're just sort of watching him closely as he goes into the rooms. Yeah, as you said, there's a little bit of applause, bit of appreciation for him. I think, yeah, at the moment, some of the people here might be a little bit concerned as to the nature of the injury, but nonetheless, we go on. I believe we're 73 minutes in now. One World LED scoreboard for your indoor and outdoor LED solutions. Bombed along by Playford. Mendes gets his head to it, but it only goes to one of the Comets players.
Game is certainly still to be won by either team. Plenty of time left.
Mendes gets ahead to it, but Park. Now another free kick going the way of Comets. It does seem perhaps like a little bit of frustration's being shown from Playford as they sort of have to maybe resort to a little bit more physicality to try and get back, control this game. Jake Porter comes on and he's looking confident from the outset. Finds his target in the middle and good. He centred it, but Playford player was in the way, so Spadavecchia for Porter on that near side. That's not a bad show for the latter part of this half, is it?
Absolutely, fresh legs.
Crosses it in. Irabona, he's, I guess, encroached on by, I should say encroached, because that's blowing a rule, but Osby comes over the top to claim it.
It does look like Sebastian Good has gone as the highest attacker. He will be striking. Gomakaisa has dropped in to a more attacking midfield role. Obviously, the fresher legs from Sebastian Good.
Well, I think we've seen from Gomakaisa, he's very good with his feet, very good in possession. Maybe been a little bit quieter in this second half, so maybe there is potential for him to have a little bit more impact in more of a number 10 role at this late part of the half, perhaps. And again, maybe fresher legs, slightly different look with Good as the 9.
Well, we certainly saw what he's capable of. He was able to send his captain through that lovely outside of the boot ball, which saw Comets equalise.
Porter sends it central, and Good got a foot to it, and he's wrestled to the ground by Harriman. Bit of a shout from the Comets bench for a pen. Play continues. And Playford looking to rebound to Barres, but it ends up going out. Just a little bit of an update on the injury situation. We're lucky enough to have some of the co-coms at home watching the game and giving us, I guess, a bit of VAR support. Thanks to Theo for sending a message in. That's Cameron Carlton collision. It was one with Penendis. I might come back to that. That goes to the keeper of Gianni Tremontian. So Cameron Carlton's collision was with Christos Penendis. When he rolled, he took out either his knee or ankle. Shot from long range. Where did that come from? Playford go back in front.
And it's the substitute, Daniel Ryan, who puts his side ahead, and he's probably hit that one from 35, 40 yards out, Simon. He's lobbed it over the top of Gianni Tremontian, and something from nothing, absolutely. Playford City lead 2-1.
I'm glad you got a good look at that, because I just looked up from my phone quickly enough to just see it coming in from a huge distance, and Tremontian set sail to try and get on the end of it. And we said it earlier, even though Comets in control a little bit, just had to be wary of Playford for how dangerous they are. And you saw a perfect example of it there. A great shot from distance and able to convert, and all of a sudden it's Comets that are chasing again. I do think there's more goals in this game, to be perfectly honest with you. Couldn't tell you which side they're going to come at, but I think it's going to be a big battle for the next 13 minutes or thereabouts.
I do think Adelaide Comets will lift though.
Porter just battling to get past. Irabona races to get to it, but it's dealt with by the Playford defender. And it's Ryan, who's not on my team sheet today, so I believe he's back after a couple of weeks out of the squad. I can't tell you, he hasn't played in the games I've called for him so far this year. So I believe there has been a little bit of an absence, but Playford switch their attention to defensive pursuits, and Comets maybe with a chance to equalise here. Irabona, he drops around the middle of the goal face. Playford deal with the initial threat. Avril Bardos will try control it and get a cross off. He doesn't manage to do so. On the positive for Comets, it will be a throw-in. And Park looks like the designated man to deliver this. Porter presents as a close option, but Park's given it as much run in as he can. It still falls short to Gonwikezwa though. Now he's found. Sent it to Mavril Bardos, but Tabares just jets in and claims the ball. Now he's running forward. And Harry Thomas got straight in front of it, gets a yellow card. It was a rapid break from Tabares, and Harry Thomas had to respond to it. I've kept saying it all night. There's certain angles that I wish I'd get a closer look at, and that one was just a little bit too far away from us and happened quickly. But in the little approach to that, it didn't look like anything was going to stop Tabares. He won the ball and then straight away tried to launch a one-man counter-attack. So
he had no real option besides him. I think he just put the foot down, drove forward. In all honesty, he's done well to win the free kick, and unfortunately wasted there by Playford.
Yeah, I think in that instance, you can either break through traffic or you can potentially force a foul. So he did well there, but like you said, probably a little bit wasteful with a free kick in the end, and Comets moving up from the back. That's a bit of a clumsy ball. Chandler eventually clears. Porter calls for it, and this ball will force nicely to him. He's got Allgate to get past. He's got Good arriving in the middle. Gonwikezwa and Irabona also, but that's well won by Playford. They clear it and turn it straight back over though. Mavril Bardos, he finds Irabona. Mavril Bardos is trying to get through traffic. It eventually gets through, but the eventual shot maybe a little bit rushed and hit slightly frustratedly, and it goes over. Luke Cosby will clear this via goal kick.
Love to see Aladdin Irabona run out these last 10 or so minutes. We did mention earlier, hasn't played a full 90 since round one. Been very off and on. I think now's his time. He can step up, show his leadership. Already has that one goal to his name. If he could grab another and make an impact, or even just help lead this Comets team to grab a point or maybe three.
Playford do well to get through. Just a little bit of friendly fire between the two Playford players there. Penendez being one of them. Gonwikezwa trying to make a little bit of space for himself. Ends up turning it over. Now Tabares spills. Mavril Bardos under siege from Penendez. Tabares finds himself with it again. Not happy with his position to cross, so he plays it back. Pratt eventually does cross. Well headed away Comets. Now, Jake Porter's rushing to get it, and Xavier Pratt gets in the way. They take the throw in quickly. Here's Porter again. That's a bit of a poor ball. The head might have been looking to put it in the path of good, but only turns it over. Back on the attack with Comets now. If this is how the next 8 minutes or so of this game is going to play out, we're going to be out of breath, I think, Anton. Tavares cops a stiff push in the back from Minsung Park. He's waved it off, acted nonchalant towards the yellow card, but from where I'm standing, that was a very stiff shove with the forearm, I believe. So he goes into Curtis Wadsworth's book.
Comets still do have a little bit of firepower on their bench. If Tom Overall elects to bring on Jake Dorsey, he's young, very energetic. It could be what Adelaide Comets could do with the next last 5-10 minutes.
Ryan sends the ball in. Comets players get their heads to it, but it'll ultimately be to their detriment because they concede a corner kick. Just on the topic of that, the other Jake that's on at the moment is the one I'm watching at the moment, Jake Porter. He's some fresh legs on that right-hand side against an Ethan Allgate who's maybe a little bit fatigued at this point, having had a pretty intense first 3 quarters of the match against Philip Spadavecchia. But speaking of fresh legs, looks like we're going to get some from Comets. We'll let this corner kick play out, then we'll talk about the players that are about to come on. Left-footed in-swinger, that falls just shy of the front post. Ravelan Bartos bombs it high and long. Now Comets are on the attack. Jake Porter got to that ball second, but still gave him a second shot at it. But now it's Playford that are breaking forward, and Comets do well just to force them to spill that ball back. Those players getting ready to cut on for Comets are Panayoti Politis and Cameron Hayes. Politis, a 19-year-old centre attacking midfielder. Porter has got Allgate to get past. Centres it, but it's a poor ball in the end.
Once again, Comets not getting that stoppage. Unable to bring on what looks to be a double change.
Probably a bit conflicted about that because in general play they probably want as much time as they can to try close this lead, but they'll be desperate to get these fresh leads on, and it is a fresh night too, so the longer these players are sort of waiting to come on the pitch, it's potentially this getting a little bit cold as well. Chandler finds Maverlin Bartos in the middle, and he goes for a run with it. He's got Porter on the far side with Park in support, goes to Park. Now Porter's cutting in. Park instead opts to find Maverlin Bartos. Now it's with Good. He was looking for Jake Porter but doesn't get there. Park will get another shot at it though. Manages to keep it despite some pressure. Eventually gives it away, but it will be a Comets free kick, and looks like Playford is scrambling now to make a quick change as well, so looks like it will be a triple sub. 2 for Comets, 1 for Playford. Jackson Kurtz will be coming off for Playford. And maybe one other. No, it'll be a double and double, so it's Gildas Gomwakezwa and Harry Thomas that have made way. A little bit of frustration from Gildas Gomwakezwa, but I think overall he should be pretty happy with the shift he's put in. And Playford looks like they're not quite ready to make this change. Jackson Kurtzwell already mentioned, and Malad Ahmad will come on. But for now, spot kick to deal with for Playford. Ravel Bardos sends it quite long, and Ospai comes over the top to claim that curling ball. I think we're 88 minutes in now. Just like that, there will be a little bit of delay due to that injury stoppage. But to Playford's credit, they didn't try to slow down play at all in playing that one out. Here comes Park. Long ball, well delivered. But in the end, it's turned over, and Playford kick it out. Here's that change for Playford now.
Starting to get to them desperate times now. Anything will do for Adelaide Comets. They'll send the long ball in. They're going to attack everything. They've got fresh legs up front as well, so they're certainly going to give it everything in order to equalise very late on in this game.
Santiago Tabares and Patrick McGregor make way. It's really difficult to choose a weak link for either of these sides tonight. I think it's pretty well-rounded, all-round effort from both sides.
Very balanced. Great football from either side.
If Playford managed to get the win, and bear in mind we're just ticking over the 90-minute mark, it'll be their 5th for the year so far. It's a little bit wider of the goal face. And here's a chance for Playford to break. Christos Penendez is putting in an almighty sprint, and looks like he'll get their second to Chandler, who puts it over and deals with the danger for now.
Gee, thought they could have wrapped that game up there. Then and then, Simon.
I think, unfortunately for Penendez, I don't think he was ever going to win a foot race with Matt Chandler, despite his best efforts that he was putting in there. He was charging forward, but Chandler, I think each leg is about the height of Penendez, so he had the stride length on him.
And Fernandez certainly isn't the shortest player on the pitch.
No, that's right. Comets tried to quickly claim that throw-in, but the whistle goes and it will be Playford. So about a minute over now. I'd imagine we'll probably have at least 4 minutes of additional time with the stretcher coming out. Again, it was Cameron Carlton that came off. Maybe a knee, maybe an ankle. Either way, when you see a player not leaving the ground on their own feet, it's a little bit concerning. So, of course, we wish them all the best. We're going to run out of spare balls now. Park plays on. We've Playford now kick this one out. That might be a bit of a time-wasting tactic, potentially. Not to give them ideas. Irabona puts it under control, and Comets win the free kick, but perhaps against advantage. Back underway. Park. Maybe a bit of a poor ball there because it's cleared by Playford. The auxiliary ball boys come to the rescue, and now we've finally got a spare once more. Park cut off. Xavier Pratt puts it out. 92 and a bit minutes gone now.
There's still time.
Marvel Bardos plays it to Luic, who's just evading Penendez, and puts it out in front of a small contingent of Playford away supporters.
Some tired legs starting to show now. Been a very high intensity game.
Really intense, yeah.
There's some players maybe starting to struggle.
Now it looks like Playford are just deciding to slow things down just a touch. Mullen trying to get through traffic. Comets win it, but one of the players goes to ground and it's a free kick. Tremontin comes up quick smart to take this. Bombs it forward. They won the header, Comets, but Playford cleared it. And this only serves to erode the clock a little bit as Comets have to go all the way back. Parks come forward to receive. It ends up going a little bit more central, although Good spills it. Whistle goes now to be a Playford free kick. Perfect time to pull up your socks. Harriman to take. He sends it long into that defensive third of Playford. Mel Adamad comes in and there's a little bit of a clash of limbs there. Now it's Comets on the attack. Porter plays it down the line, but probably wasn't a great ball. Almost got my first touch there.
Consolation
I thought
touch.
that had my name on it. Whistle goes again. It's another free kick. Every time that whistle goes and there's a potential just for a slight delay, the frustration of the Comets bench just shows. It's been such a hard-fought game from them today. I think, although this will likely end up a 2-1 loss because it's just ticked over the 95-minute mark, I think they can be incredibly proud with what they've showed tonight. But unfortunately, at this stage, points are so important to them because although there's a lot of season to play out yet, it looks like it's going to be a year-long relegation battle. And another free kick. This time it goes to Comets. Tremontin again tells everyone to push up as he gets ready to send it long.
Now or never now.
Politis gets ahead to it. Bomb along by Pratt. Konomopoulos gets to it. And it's back to Politis. Nice sliding from the Playford player, and it was Penendis that won it briefly. Pratt again. And there goes the final whistle. 6 minutes extra played in the end, and I think overall that was a really exciting 90 minutes of football. I do feel for Comets. I think it was a fair result. I think Playford did well. They were very composed throughout and maybe a little bit more clinical throughout the game, even though there were periods where Comets perhaps looked a little bit more threatening. But I think given the effort that we saw from Comets and maybe where they are in the standings at the moment, and considering they are hunting for their first win, you do feel for them a little bit. But again, on the Playford side, another great performance from them.
Absolutely. They will be loving that. The Playford boys. It's going to hurt Adelaide Comets a lot, in all honesty, but it's not all doom and gloom. I will certainly say that. They showed great glimpses throughout the whole 90. It's just a matter of Playford, bit of experience, bit more mature, and look, it was a bit of an arm wrestle in all honesty. Both teams had all chances. Playford just too good in the end, unfortunately, for Adelaide Comets.
Right, now here's where things get interesting, because we have joint leaders. Well, they're not joint leaders because they are separated by goal difference, but it is only one goal. They're joint for points. Up the top, West Torrens Bacalla, after their loss to Croydon tonight, and Playford City in second. So both those teams tied on 16 points. Adelaide City and Metro Stars are in third and fourth, 14 points and 11 points respectively. So we may see a top 3 shake-up by the end of this weekend. So a couple of huge results tonight in the scheme of things, and a huge weekend still to come. Of course, you can catch all the action on FSA Leagues on YouTube. Time for us to sign off from round 7 of the REA National Premier League South Australia, the double-header that saw a win in the early game from Comets women. The senior men unfortunately falling short in front of a home crowd. But we're going to go inside and get warm now. So Simon Jimenez and Anton Violi, till next time, signing off.